Yes, thank you so much for joining us. Are government systems designed for family growth, as I mentioned, is the topic of our next session here. Your Excellency Sana bint Mohammed Suhail, I wanted to start off with you, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the UAE National Agenda on Family Growth for 2031. Very much, we've got a lot of advances that are being made within the agenda. So how are family policies and fertility outcomes really taken into account within the design of all of this?
Thank you so much, Laura. And I'm happy to be on this panel. And maybe I can start with the leadership of UAE has prioritized the topic of family. I mean, it's been always on top of their agenda. However, in the recent years, that has become more evident to ensure, family formation, growth, and sustainability. So the way we are approaching the family growth topic is basically it's a national, multidimensional challenge, and we look at it from a very optimistic lens. The way we have done the discussion on policy is basically we formed a cross-sectorial task force from more than 20 entities, both from the federal and local governments. And we started looking at our existing policies on the ground. So in this process, we reviewed more than 60 policies that have been implemented in UAE. Now, having said that, what we realized that yes, policies can help translating intentions into actions. However, they are not the only tool to make things happen, especially solving the fertility challenge. And so we go back and look at our demographics, and what we have found that we wanted to see how do we embark on this journey from a positive lens. And what we found that we actually have a competitive advantage, where in the next decade we will have, if we look at our youth, the age between 15 till 35, we will be, experiencing a growth of 30%. And we want to look at this opportunity window in a very wise and selective tactical moves to ensure that our effort and investments are really making the right, impact. So this is in brief, but what I want to say is our benchmark studies and our local studies proves that the policy lever is not enough to really spark the desire to form a family and make it grow. So that's why we are adopting this integrated approach together with all our stakeholders.
And this is so timely as well, of course, because 2026, as we were talking backstage, is the year of family, of course, as well. So good, perfect timing. Your Excellency Tatjana Macura, wonderful to have you here as well. Now, when it comes to supporting families, what's really worked over in Serbia, from childcare to sort of flexible working and things like that? And I think you have a fund that you set up especially for this, is that right?
No, we just started one national campaign, but I can explain what we have done in the past 10 or 12 years. Actually, I think for people who are listening to us today, it's important to know that Serbia has birth fertility rate in 2007 on 1.38 today. After the changing of the legislative and huge support to families with the children, we now have birth fertility rate on 162, but we are not satisfied yet. We are supporting families who are waiting for their first, second, third, and fourth child. We are also giving subsidies to a mother who don't have their own home. And we are also giving very good loans to young people, although they are having families at the moment or not. So this is a group of economic measures, financial support that we are providing to families and single mothers if they want to have children. But we are not satisfied yet with these results, and we know that we can do much more. That's why my cabinet office that I'm running decided this year to start a national campaign on fertility with the name One More Heart. It's a warm message to everyone, because women, when they are pregnant, they have two hearts in their body. So that's why we decided to give the name to our campaign on that way. And we are putting focus on providing as much as possible information to young people why it's important for them not to postpone decision if they want to have a family with the children. Because now we can see that there is going on trend in not only in Serbia but globally that women are deciding to have family with the children after some years. So it's important for us to motivate them to do that on time, because although Serbia has a very liberal way of providing procedures in IVF, I don't know if you know some of these things, but we are, for example, providing completely covered from the budget every IVF procedure for the first child for the women who are under 45 years of age. So it's probably the most liberal way, but it's not still giving the results that we are hoping for. That's why we need to talk with the young people who wants to have family, not putting pressure on them to have it if they don't want it. But if they want to have family with children, we need to inform them why it's important to do that in time.
And that's the thing with that next generation, and even I suppose with my generation as well, everyone, wants to work and sort of, live their lives before they sort of settle down and things like that. So that mind shift is quite telling, isn't it? And it's interesting that it's trickled down into that younger population. But over to Dr. Lyman, family growth rarely features in economic or fiscal conversations. Why is this?
You're right that it rarely appears. I mean, when we look at the global landscape of family policy, of support, of trying to roll back the rapid fertility decline we're seeing around the world, I mean, the brilliant women leaders sitting right beside me are definitely on the cutting edge of what countries are doing. Most countries are doing nothing, and they're just letting their citizenry go extinct. Now, in terms of why that is, I think there's two big reasons. One is a totally legitimate concern that no one wants to roll back women's rights. And there's a fear that trying to solve low fertility is going to be like a stalking horse for the end of women's rights. And I think I understand where that fear comes from. And I think that's something we have to be aware of as we try and make policies in this area, that we are supporting and encouraging the option to have a family, but we are not diminishing the hard-won status of women. The other reason for this is, of course, that we have had decades of anti-natal, anti-family ideology that tells us that humans are the problem. And the result is that today there are a lot of countries so focused on protecting their natural resources that they are throwing away their human resources. And in the future, human creativity is going to matter a lot more than those physical limits. And as a result, this issue, even though it is civilizational, has struggled to acquire real policy traction.
So interesting, isn't it? And I suppose you need this sort of holistic approach where it's sort of all aligned and you have that balance as well at the end of the day. It's all about balance, right? But back over to Your Excellency. Now, is it true that Emirati couples today are desiring fewer children then? And what has the UAE learned from national evidence between this gap of aspirations for family life and then those realities that young people are actually facing today?
From our research work, which we've started in 2025, and even before that in the local level, what we found, for example, from the ethnographic interviews that was conducted last year for more than 200 hours in addition to a national survey we conducted for youth perspective on family formation and growth. The outcome was actually encouraging. A strong percentage of the young population actually believe in the family institution. Our challenge is actually something which is more about prioritization. So we see that there is a gap between aspirations and reality. So for example, with youth, is education more important than family formation? Is my career growth is more important? So this prioritization and the definition of success in life at that point of time is what we are having as a challenge. And the way we have, as I mentioned, the way we have approached it is we wanted to ensure that we don't embark on policies that are basically number driven. So that's why our approach, as I mentioned, it's cross-sectorial or multi-dimensional. So we are looking at family-focused policies, but before that, we are looking at mindset and behavioral intervention, supported by appropriate healthcare also support. So these three combined is the way we are taking this forward. So to answer you back on, we are very optimistic with our youth. We think we have the right foundation. It's just that we need to ensure that we spark those desires in a way that it's enabled with the ecosystem and what we are doing, overall on this.
Well, you seem to be doing a brilliant job. So and it's shown from the data exactly. So it's really great. Your Excellency, Tatjana, now you specialize in fertility, population decline and family policies, of course, as well. So do you think that governments can genuinely influence policies and decisions around family formation and fertility? Or is it sort of more realistic to sort of adapt to these different types of trends? What do you think?
Let me just refer for a moment to something that Sana mentioned before, because we also did some survey in our country, and we also have results that are showing that the young people actually want to have families with more than one child. So it's important to know that. And now it's our obligation as representatives of the government, maybe someone from the civil sector, from media, is how to create an atmosphere where they can make their wishes come true. What is happening in their lives and what is pushing them to delay their decision or to just drop off and not to have family with children. So that's why we started this national campaign. We want to provide as much as possible information to young people, and we know that we can't do that alone. We are working together with the civil society organization. We are working together with media. We are working together with the youth organizations, and we are trying to do our best not to push them to something if they don't want, just to provide them information that they can make an important decision in the future or not. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We are running out of time, sadly. We're a bit over, in fact. But very quickly, Dr. Lyman, how do we design these family policies in support of women's empowerment and economic participation? Having a family is also a big, big responsibility.
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think we've actually already heard some of the keys from the two governments we've just heard about. One is that around the world, most people want families. And I'm excited to hear about these surveys because at the Institute for Family Studies, we've collected about 1,800 surveys around the world. And we almost always find this in industrialized countries. Young people still want families, just like they always did. They're struggling to have them for various reasons. Prioritization and life sequencing. It takes a long time to find a spouse now. Online dating doesn't work very well, apparently. Information. People think that 35 is the new 30, and it isn't. It just isn't. There's all kinds of these things that we can target in a way that what policy is doing, we're not trying to grab a lever and yank and like crank the fertility rate up. We're not trying to print more babies out of the baby factory. Okay, that's not what we're doing. We want families, these epicenters of love and relationship, to be strong, to grow, to be formed. And what policy can do, policy can create an environment where spouses feel confident starting that conversation with their spouse, where mothers-in-law feel confident starting that conversation with their kids, where religious leaders can say, look, if you have a baby, we will support you. And hey, the government's actually they're doing their part too. The goal of policy isn't to bully people, pressure them, make them do things, nor to just engineer their families. It's to create an atmosphere, an environment, a family culture where all the people actually making these decisions can have the overflowing of love that makes kids.
And as you mentioned, family unity is so important in all of this as well. Sadly, that is all we have time for. We've gone a little bit over, but we cannot thank you enough. Such an interesting conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for our panel. Thank you.